Did you know that a single subtle mark on your skin could be your body's silent cry for help? A tiny patch of discoloration on the back of your hand, or a sudden dryness on your elbow, might not just be a normal sign of aging or a harmless cosmetic issue, it could be your body waving a huge red flag about an internal health crisis. And the scariest part? Most people have no idea these changes even matter. They shrug them off as just another spot, or blame them on cold weather or poor lotions. Today, we're diving into 7 subtle skin changes that could be warning you about something going on beneath the surface. The 7th one is especially critical, because it's the one that often goes unnoticed until it's too late. Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for, and you might even catch a hidden condition early enough to turn things around. But before we get into these 7 skin changes, I want you to imagine waking up tomorrow, looking in the mirror, and realizing you missed a glaring sign your body was trying to show you. Imagine discovering you could have prevented a serious disease, or avoided months, maybe even years, of pain, simply by paying a little extra attention to the surface of your skin. It sounds dramatic, but it happens every single day. People ignore dryness, odd spots, or a strange rash, and then wonder how their minor annoyance turned into a major problem. If you're feeling that jolt of urgency right now, good. Because by the end of our conversation, you'll understand why something as small as a tiny dark patch, or a subtle bruise, is never trivial. And don't worry, we'll talk about the solutions, too, so you're not just left hanging in dread. You'll walk away with the knowledge to protect yourself and the people you care about, whether you're 25 or 75. The most critical piece of info is definitely at the end, so don't even think about clicking away. Now, let's jump straight into why these changes matter so much and why doctors say your skin can be a diagnostic window into your entire body. The real question is, why are these subtle signs so important? A lot of people say, my skin's always been weird, or, at my age, it's normal to have spots. But not every discoloration or bump is normal. In fact, some of these so-called little issues could be your biggest wake-up call. Let's figure out why. Think about it this way, your skin is your largest organ. It's your first line of defense against the outside world. It's constantly bombarded by sun exposure, changing temperatures, environmental toxins, and more. But it also has a direct relationship with what's happening inside you, your gut health, hormonal balance, nutrient levels, and your immune system. If there's a breakdown in any of these internal systems, your skin is often the first place to show it. It's like the body's own early alert system. If you pay attention, you might catch something serious early on, anything from nutrient deficiencies that can be fixed with a dietary change to more urgent issues like diabetes or thyroid imbalances that need immediate care. Now, the problem is that most of us don't know how to read these subtle signals. We look in the mirror, see something a bit off, and do one of two things, either ignore it or freak out unnecessarily. Doctors, dermatologists, and gerontologists around the world have repeatedly published studies linking skin manifestations to systemic diseases. For instance, certain rashes have been tied to autoimmune conditions, and random bruising might be tied to issues with blood clotting or circulation. And yet, most people only pay attention to their skin when something is visibly ugly or painful. That's why we need to address this now, especially if you're in a group more prone to certain diseases, like individuals over 60 who might already be dealing with slower regeneration and weaker immune responses. So in a moment, I'll walk you through 7 specific skin changes that can serve as potential red flags for deeper internal problems. Each one might sound minor at first, but I promise you, if you ever notice these subtle cues, they can be major indicators that something inside your body needs immediate attention. At the end, I'll also tell you exactly why one particular sign is considered so urgent by doctors, and I'll give you some actionable tips on what to do if you spot it. Let's get into the main signs to watch for. Sign number 1, unexplained yellowish tinge or sallow complexion. Have you ever looked at yourself under bright lighting and thought, I look a bit yellow around the edges, maybe it's just the lighting? If you notice that your overall skin tone, or even parts of your skin like the whites of your eyes, appear faintly yellow, don't blame the lighting. This can be a major red flag. A yellowish tinge is commonly associated with jaundice, which indicates liver stress or even gallbladder issues. When your liver isn't processing bilirubin effectively, a byproduct of blood cells, it can accumulate in the bloodstream and manifest as a yellowish hue on your skin or in your eyes. That's not always the only reason for a sallow complexion, though. Sometimes chronic anemia or a severe vitamin B12 deficiency can give your skin a pallid, almost off color that's not quite the same as standard paleness. You might shrug it off, blaming poor lighting or thinking you just need more time in the sun. But if this color persists or worsens, it's time to see a doctor for a proper checkup. In some cases, you might have underlying conditions like hepatitis, cirrhosis, or hemolytic disorders that are silently damaging your body. The key message: a persistent yellow tone is never just about looking a little sick, it can be about actually being sick. Sign number 2, sudden onset of dry, scaly patches, especially if they itch. Dry skin, especially in older adults, might seem normal. But what if you notice sudden, scaly patches that itch or flake in spots you've never had issues with before, like behind your knees, around your elbows, or even in hidden places like your lower back? Sometimes this is eczema flaring up, but it can also indicate something more systemic. Psoriasis, for example, is an autoimmune condition that shows up as thick, scaly patches. But it's tied to inflammation throughout the body, not just on the surface of the skin. People with psoriasis often have a higher risk of joint problems, psoriatic arthritis, and they're more prone to metabolic syndromes like diabetes or cardiovascular disease. Another possibility is a thyroid imbalance, particularly hypothyroidism. When your thyroid is underactive, your skin cells don't regenerate as quickly, leading to dryness and flakiness. If you're piling on moisturizer but still seeing scaly spots that only get worse, don't just assume it's age. A simple blood test might reveal a thyroid issue or nutrient deficiency. The bottom line: if your skin changes suddenly, especially into dry, scaly territory, it's time to investigate. Sign number 3, darkened or velvety patches in body folds, acanthosis nigricans. This is one of the biggest tip-offs that something could be off internally, particularly with your insulin levels. Acanthosis nigricans is a condition where certain areas of the skin, often the back of your neck, armpits, groin, or under the breasts, become darker, thicker, and sometimes feel velvety to the touch. Many people mistake this for dirt or poor hygiene, scrubbing away at it to no avail. In reality, these velvety patches often indicate insulin resistance, which is a major step toward type 2 diabetes. In some rare cases, acanthosis nigricans could also signal hormonal disorders or even underlying tumors, but the most common link is with sugar metabolism and insulin. If you notice these patches, and especially if they seem to appear out of nowhere, you should discuss them with a healthcare provider. You may need to have your blood glucose levels tested, along with an overall endocrine evaluation. Early detection here can literally save you from years of uncontrolled diabetes and all the complications that come with it. Sign number 4, unusual, persistent bruising or slow-healing lesions. We all bump into furniture from time to time, especially as we get older and become a bit less aware of our surroundings. But if you start seeing bruises that appear too easily or stick around far longer than they used to, your body might be hinting at something deeper. One possibility is platelet or clotting disorders, another is that you might be severely deficient in vitamin C or vitamin K, both critical for healthy blood clotting and tissue repair. And let's talk about slow-healing wounds or lesions. When you get a small cut and it lingers for weeks without improving, that can be a sign of poor circulation, immune deficiencies, or diabetes. Elevated blood sugar can damage tiny blood vessels, reducing the nutrients and oxygen that reach your skin. This severely impairs the healing process. If you've ever noticed older folks with sores on their feet that never seem to close, that's often the reason. Don't wait until it's a chronic problem. If you've got suspicious bruises or cuts that just won't heal, that's your body screaming for a thorough check. Sign number 5, sudden acne-like breakouts or red bumps after 60. You might think acne is only for teenagers, but certain red bumps that look pimply can appear later in life as well. Rosacea, for example, can manifest as redness and bumps on the cheeks and nose, but it can also be linked to gastrointestinal issues or even autoimmune disorders. Another under-the-radar issue is that high stress levels can cause or worsen adult acne, meaning your adrenal glands are working overtime. There's also a link between breakout-like rashes and blood sugar problems, again pointing to potential metabolic syndrome. If you're suddenly dealing with breakouts for the first time in your 50s, 60s, or beyond, it's worth exploring whether something in your diet or hormone levels has changed drastically. Stress hormones like cortisol can also throw everything off balance, resulting in a face full of bumps that you thought you'd outgrown decades ago. Sign number 6, excessively itchy skin with no rash. One of the most overlooked signs is when you feel an intense urge to scratch, but there's no obvious rash to explain it. Chronic itching without visible lesions can be related to liver disease, kidney disease, or even lymphoma. In kidney disease, for instance, the body fails to filter out certain waste products. These can build up under the skin and cause that maddening itch. Similarly, in advanced liver conditions, bile acids may accumulate, resulting in persistent itching, typically on the palms and soles. It's easy to blow this off. I'm just itching because the air is dry, or maybe I'm allergic to my detergent. But if you've switched soaps and lotions repeatedly without relief, and there's no visible rash to blame, you must consider internal causes. Doctors often run labs to check kidney and liver function when patients complain of unexplained itching. It might feel weird to connect a random itch to your liver, but your body is all one interconnected system. Overlooking this sign could be a massive mistake. Sign number 7, unexplained skin darkening around scars or spots, hyperpigmentation shifts. Finally, the 7th subtle and critical change, an unexplained darkening or shift in pigmentation around old scars or existing spots. Have you ever noticed that an old scar suddenly looks darker, or that a small mole has become more pronounced in color without necessarily growing in size? This could be a sign of underlying hormonal imbalances, such as an issue with your adrenal glands. Conditions like Addison's disease can cause hyperpigmentation in areas that experience friction, elbows, knuckles, knees, and around scars. But let's take it a step further. If you see an old scar turning darker, or a patch around it looking more intense in color, you might need to consider if your stress hormones are off the charts or if there's an autoimmune factor at play. In certain cases, a change in pigmentation might also hint at underlying endocrine disorders like Cushing's syndrome. The trick here is that these color changes may not be dramatic, they're subtle, which is why many people never notice or never think to bring it up with a doctor. But subtle is enough. You don't have to wait until the difference is glaring. The earlier you catch it, the better your chance of addressing the root cause promptly. Right now, you might be feeling a bit overwhelmed or even concerned that you've noticed one or more of these signs before. Maybe you're thinking, wait, my elbow has been so itchy for months. Does that mean something serious? Or you remember that your aunt's skin turned a bit yellow before she was diagnosed with a liver problem. It's normal to feel that sense of alarm. But here's the biggest takeaway: none of these signs automatically mean you have a serious disease. They are warning lights on the dashboard, letting you know it's time to investigate under the hood. They don't guarantee a breakdown, but they strongly suggest it's time for a checkup. And here's the crucial point that you must remember: the earlier you catch these signs, the easier it usually is to treat the underlying condition. If you wait until you have more severe symptoms, like constant fatigue, internal pain, or major weight changes, then the issue may have advanced. Think of your skin as your personal detective, whispering clues long before anything else picks up on the problem. Now, let's talk about what you can do if you spot any of these red flags. First, get a medical evaluation. Don't just rush to a pharmacy for a cream or lotion hoping that will solve everything. A primary care physician or dermatologist can take your history, examine the changes, and possibly run specific lab tests, like a comprehensive blood panel for sugar levels, liver enzymes, kidney function, and thyroid hormones. If these tests come back normal, at least you'll have peace of mind. If something's off, you can catch it early and possibly avoid serious complications. Second, pay attention to your lifestyle. Are you eating balanced meals rich in vitamins and minerals? Deficiencies in vitamins A, B, C, D, E, and minerals like zinc or iron can all show up on the skin first. Are you staying hydrated? Chronic dehydration can worsen many of these skin changes. Are you managing stress effectively? High cortisol levels can wreak havoc on multiple bodily systems, not just your skin. Sometimes, simple changes like improving your diet, getting enough sleep, and reducing stress can clear up a skin issue that's actually an internal imbalance. Third, keep a little journal or take photos if you notice something suspicious. Our memories can be unreliable, especially if changes happen slowly over weeks or months. If you track them, you'll have concrete information to show a medical professional. It can also help you see improvements if you start a new regimen or therapy. Finally, share this knowledge. You have no idea who in your life might be silently dealing with one of these skin problems, dismissing it as unimportant. By talking about it, asking a friend if they've noticed a certain patch or dryness, they might be prompted to get it checked out. You could be the reason someone catches a serious condition in its early stages. Here's the truth, your skin is an incredibly powerful storyteller. It reflects countless internal processes, hormonal changes, nutritional status, emotional well-being, and beyond. When something is out of balance, your skin is often the first place you'll see or feel it. The challenge is recognizing those signs for what they are, early warning signals. If you ignore them, you could be missing a key opportunity to address an underlying issue quickly. But if you pay attention, you give yourself or your loved ones the best chance to stay healthy and vibrant. In the end, we all want to feel confident and secure in our own bodies. Part of that confidence comes from knowledge. Now that you know these 7 subtle skin changes, you're equipped with the power to notice them and respond proactively. The next step is all yours. Look in the mirror, really look, and if anything seems off, don't hesitate to ask questions or seek professional advice. Don't wait until you're dealing with advanced symptoms or irreversible damage. Taking action at the first sign could add years of healthier living to your life. Remember, every day you wait might be a day too late. But by checking your skin and staying vigilant, you're already ahead of most people who simply shrug and say, "It's nothing." And that, my friends, is how you keep control of your health and your future. Now, if you found this video helpful, make sure to like it and share it with someone you care about. Drop a comment below if you've ever experienced a mysterious skin change that turned out to be something deeper. It might help someone else who's going through the same thing right now. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell, because in our next video, we'll be exploring 5 everyday habits that might be secretly accelerating the aging of your skin and your entire body. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. Stay curious, stay healthy, and I'll see you in the next video.